Okay, so as we are moving into this context in which we're going to speak the helpful truth, we're moving into an existing relationship. The existing relationship already has certain expectations and norms and history, and we're going to be as sensitive as we can to that. In order to address persistent patterns of conflict which arise within that relationship, within that loop. Sometimes it's just history, sometimes it's just resentment, sometimes it's unfinished business, but sometimes it's the structure of the relationship itself. Sometimes the reason that we're having this problem within this dynamic loop, which is our relationship, is that those of us who make up the loop, who contribute to it, who are leaning into making this relationship happen, are not creating the same relationship, or at least we're not thinking of it in the same way. This is probably most likely a problem within a close friendship or even within a marriage, where the people who are engaged in the marriage are not thinking of the relationship in the same way. They're not constructing it the same way. For a relationship to be stable, it has to feel just. It has to feel like this is working for me in some way. And for that to happen, we have to be making agreements together. We're going to talk more about that in the next video. But those agreements, for those agreements to work, we have to be in the same relationship in some sense. We have to have a balance of rights and responsibilities. I have a right to make certain choices and have things happen in this relationship, and I'm responsible for making other things happen. I'm accountable for certain outcomes. And those rights and those responsibilities have to be balanced. If I have a lot of responsibilities and I don't have the rights, I don't have the power, I can't make this happen. If I'm in a job where I'm expected to do things but I don't have the tools to make it happen, I'm feeling oppressed. If, on the other hand, I have lots of rights, I get to decide this, I get to decide that, I'm not accountable for what happens, I'm being oppressive. I'm exercising my privilege in a way that's actually harmful to others. So for a relationship to be stable, it has to have a balance of rights and responsibilities such that everybody who's constructing that relationship feels that balance, feels both supported and expected to do things for the benefit of everyone. Now, there are three different ways that we can do it that are stable, and we may not be constructing them the same way. And in any given relationship, sometimes it may be one form, it may be another. So we're going to look at what those forms are. We're going to look at these different kinds of relationships and see that there are fiduciary relationships, mutual relationships, and reciprocal relationships. A fiduciary relationship is one in which we have rights because we have responsibilities, which is to say that as a coach, I have a responsibility to make sure that the team functions well, so I have a right to decide the batting order. As a police officer, I'm responsible for the well-being of the community, so I have a right to pull you over when you've been speeding. As a parent, I get to tell you when it is that you go to, it's time for you to go to bed. As a banker, I'm going to be making decisions, or as a financial advisor, I'm going to be making decisions about your resources in your own interest. If I'm doing what's in my interest in any of these roles and not in yours, I am abusing the relationship. It is a form of corruption. In a mutual relationship, we've all got the same rights and responsibilities. We each get to participate in the decision making. So as players on the same team, we each get a turn at bat. We each have a responsibility to field. We may have decided somebody's playing second base and somebody else is playing left field, but we fundamentally all have the same rights and responsibilities. For most of us in the developed world, certainly in North America here, we have assumed that marriage is about mutuality because it's about love. It's about intimacy more than about stability. In many parts of the world, particularly in the Asian subcontinent, around India and so forth, more marriages are arranged because this is not about love and intimacy. This is about economic stability. So mutual relationships are ones in which we have the same rights and responsibilities. A reciprocal relationship is one in which my rights balance your responsibilities and vice versa. So if I've hired you to put in a new concrete sidewalk out in front of my house, we've agreed that it's going to be 4 feet wide and it's going to be 35 feet long and it's going to have 3 inches of gravel and then 3 inches of concrete. And so I have a right to expect that you're going to build you're going to pour the sidewalk that we contracted. And you have a right to expect that I'm going to pay you the sum that we agreed to. My responsibility is to meet your rights, and your responsibility is to meet my rights. So there is a balance there that we are seeking to create. Now, sometimes we find that we're not in the same relationship. Sometimes people discover that they thought they were in a mutual relationship, and the other person said, "No, I have a right to tell you what to do. You're responsible for certain things." A common one here is, within this relationship, I have a right to presume that you're going to take care of me emotionally. And I'm thinking, no, I don't see that I have the responsibility to do that. So we're not clear about the balance of rights and responsibilities. And that becomes something that is inhibiting the quality of the loop, the quality of the system. It is dysfunctioning because we're not entering into it with the same expectations. So we want to be clear about what it is we're expected to do, recognizing that in certain relationships, at times it's one and times it's another. I have a fundamentally mutual relationship with my wife, except when we're out in the garden, because she's the one who decides what's going to go where, and she tells me what to do. At that point, I become her employee because I don't want the responsibility of making those decisions. I'm happy to let her do that. When we're painting the bedroom, hey, that's my domain, so now she's working for me. So we balance it that way, but it's fundamentally a mutual relationship. All right, I hope that helps.